Actual confirmation of that yet, because the National Weather Service is the agency that determines whether or not we actually had a tornado here last night, but we certainly had a violent weather event. At this time, we have several injuries, and tragically, we have one confirmed fatality on the east side of the county. We also have multiple law enforcement, fire, and EMS agencies responding across the county on search and rescue and other life safety missions. This is our top priority right now. We still have people who are in need from first responders, and we're making sure that that's what's happening right now. Early this morning, in the 2 o'clock time frame, it's a little fuzzy for me, I contacted the Arkansas Department of Emergency Management and verbally declared a disaster for Benton County. That's important as we go forward, particularly for damage assessments. We've also reached out to all of our mayors and let them know we have activated our Emergency Operations Center to help coordinate regional response. We reached out to a variety of other agencies and entities for support, including the Arkansas Task Force 1 for Urban Search and Rescue, Washington County, Carroll Electric, Black Hills Energy. We've also been in touch with the Red Cross, who is going to help us in setting up shelters for those who need assistance. We don't have too much more. The sun has just come up. We will start doing a lot more work on determining the extent of the damage, but suffice it to say, we had extensive damage to our facilities here in Benton County, including the courthouse right behind you. And we know that there are a lot of our citizens who are hurting today and this morning, and they've also had a lot of damage, and some are actually hurting physically. So with that, we'll take any questions you have.
Is anybody trapped right now in homes? Do you guys know that?
I don't know that for sure. We do have some areas that we're still trying to get to, but we don't have any calls of someone trapped where we're trying to reach. But active power lines have caused us delaying our response in certain areas of the county. But now that it's daylight, we should be able to make much more progress with that.
Any more info on the fatality on the east side?
I don't think we have any information we can release at this point.
Do we know how many people are injured? Is there a count on that?
No, sir.
Just
Multiple.
Multiple. We expect that will probably go up as we can get out into the areas that we have not been able to access yet. Mainly out east is where our problem area is as far as access, due to heavy trees being down and power lines. So.
Are you going to ask for assistance from
National Guard?
I don't think we've determined that yet, but we have been in touch with the Arkansas Department of Emergency Management, and we'll coordinate closely with them. And if that's a step that we feel is necessary, then we'll take that step. It's just too early to know.
I know you guys have just started looking, but what are the most hard-hit parts of the county so far?
I would say the Decatur area was one area that is as well on the east side as the Rocky Branch area. Those are the two that we know the most about at the moment.
How long could you guys see this search going on for? Is it a day thing? Is it a week thing? What's the timeline?
There's no way to make a time determination at this point.
I feel like bringing in Task Force 1, you still have some areas, or is that mainly for a secondary search of everything?
No, there's actually two separate entities of Task Force 1. One's in Little Rock and one's out of Fayetteville. And actually, the one from Fayetteville was up within a couple of hours and was in the Gentry area. And now we're getting to go them to respond on the east side as well.
What do you feel like? Obviously, in any situation like this, immediately the community wants to help. What do you want to tell those people? What can they do? Are you at a point yet to know to coordinate that or to do anything?
I think at this point we really don't know. At some point, I believe there will probably be some need. We're going to have some people that obviously have lost their homes or have damage to their homes from the roof being taken off. Sun's coming up now. We're just now assessing how big this is going to be. Hopefully we'll be able to get some aerial views here soon to know just what we're looking at.
Well, for those people that want to help, though, do you have a centralized web page or any place so that they can know what they can do and how that's going to be coordinated?
No, sir, we don't have anything at this point. We're still very early. We're more worried about the initial response because we haven't got to all of those areas yet. We want to cover those areas first before we proceed with anything that we might need.
But when we have that information, we'll certainly post that on our webpage. We'll make sure that you guys are updated on it. You know, this is going to go from a search and rescue kind of situation to a damage assessment, and we'll work closely again with Adam. We'll make sure that we're partnered up with the Red Cross, and if necessary, if we need to take the declaration higher to a federal level, we'll be sure to do that as well, so that we can assist citizens with their damage assessments as well.
What would be that webpage address? You know off the top of your head?
Well, when we get there, it'll be on our bentoncountyaR.gov. You'll be able to go to our county website, and you'll be able to see that right there.
Do you guys remember the last time there was a death in Benton County because of severe weather?
I do not have that information with me right now.
But definitely something rare that we don't see every year, right?
Correct.
Good? Okay, good.
19.
I believe that's it.
All right.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
I didn't want to tell you.
All right, that's wrapping up the news conference there. Very short. Obviously, not a lot to talk about yet because they're still in the very early stage of the assessment of the situation of these tornadoes that came through. You heard him say many injuries. And they're still trying to assess a number of injuries. There is one fatality, excuse me, to report, and that was in the east part of the county. The Red Cross, when we've been talking about this too pretty much all morning, the Red Cross has been contacted, and they will be brought in to help set up shelters for those who don't have power and need a place. Oh, thanks. Yeah, need a place to go. In order to get out of the heat, because it will be a little warmish today. Because it's still in the early stages of this assessment, the Red Cross has not set up any of those shelters just yet. Once we find out those, though, we will pass that along. You heard Judge Mooring say that emergency disaster declarations have been declared on the county level. That's a start now. They have made contact with Little Rock to get it on a state level, and that will move it on to a federal level. But declaring it on a county level actually gets the process started to get funds and resources into this area to be able to help out those who are in need. You heard Robert McGowan say that the worst hit areas as far as damage is concerned, although it's going to be widespread, is Decatur and the Rocky Branch area. We have shown you that video out of Decatur, west of Decatur, that these homes were hit very hard. This is in downtown Rogers, around the square that was hit as well this morning. A lot of damage there. Susie Q was wiped out. A Casey's down the street wiped out. A number of homes were damaged. A lot of businesses have a lot of damage. And you heard him say at the end, and Scott, you and I talked about this as well, we know you want to help. We know that this area has always been a place, when something happens, that you want to help out. In this case, there's not, it makes it, there. That's the Decatur. I believe that's live, right, from Decatur. That is a live picture from that neighborhood. Trees sheared off, cars flipped over, houses that are damaged. You can see off in the distance even more houses and structures wiped out or heavily damaged. And when you see cars flipped over like this, you know this was a powerful storm. But just to get back, we know you want to help. They are in the process of getting a method and a system for you to help, which in a way that'll make it a lot easier than doing it now. You do it now, it makes it worse. If you wait, they're basically saying, if you just be patient, we will have a system set up that will be beneficial to everybody.
You're exactly right. They're saying, we know we are going to need help, but right now we don't know the best way for you to help. They are still in active search and rescue.
Right.
What we heard Robert McGowan say is they've not made it to every location impacted by this storm. We watched them spend about 2 hours with numerous crew, including they even brought inmates from the Benton County Jail to come work chainsaws. It still took about 2 hours just to get emergency crews into the area we're looking at live now. So knowing that not everyone's been checked in on yet is a little concerning. To be
Yes,
honest, we have
exactly,
one
yes.
confirmed fatality, multiple injuries cited by the county judge there, and we've still not checked in on everyone just yet. There will be a way to help. We just don't know the best way at this time.
Part of that damage we've been reporting on all morning long have been in neighborhoods, and Zach Scott is actually in one of the neighborhoods as well. Zach, if you can hear me, tell us where you are in relation to the downtown area and what you're seeing out there.
Yeah, guys, we are just east of downtown Rogers. We're about 0.7 miles from downtown, so we're pretty close here. We're basically in between. We showed you this morning Suzy Q, significant damage there. Looks like the building's a total loss. And then the rental company on Walnut, that was some of the worst damage we've seen here. We're in between that. It looks like the tornado, the strong winds, all of it mixed together. I mean, it certainly looks like tornado damage, right? And we can put that right with radar and feel confident that at times we at least had a tornado on the ground with damaging winds coming through. There's debris kind of wrapped everywhere. We've got trees going in this direction, trees going in that direction, trees going in that direction. It's quiet in here too, though. There are some folks kind of walking around, but they're a little stunned. There are some folks just checking on some people. We're here at Maple and 10th Street. So again, about 0.7 miles away from downtown. Just spoke with a woman. She's inside this house here behind me. She got over here as fast as she could. She was checking on her grandmother, 81 years old, lives here by herself. She has a massive oak tree that's down across the back of the, not on the house, but in the backyard. And then you can see here, we can get a little bit closer, Josh. Massive tree here, at least about a 3-4 foot hole there with the root ball coming out, tree going across the road. They were grateful, didn't want to talk, but we're super grateful here. If that tree would have fallen the other way, her grandmother was in that back closet there, and the tree would have been right in line for that. And we can't really get back in there. You see these lines coming down. There's trees everywhere. We're here in that Maple from east to west here is one of the harder hit streets. There are some trees on some homes. We are getting reports of that a little bit. We haven't made our way back in there yet, and we're just hoping that that these trees, maybe they were close enough to the home where they kind of fall on the home a little bit. They're not able to really do a lot of damage, go into the home. But these are large trees. These are heavy trees, and they do a lot of damage. And we do know that there are some on top of these homes. This tree right here, you can't see it. There's so much debris there, but there is a house on the backside here. We spoke with the gentleman that lives in this house. He's kind of going around checking on his neighbors here. He hasn't been able to get back there yet to check on that neighbor, and that neighbor does have trees on their house. So he's a little concerned there. Again, extensive damage here. And we can see and hear fire trucks driving by, police vehicles driving by, but we're just on the edges of some of these neighborhoods. And I know you guys have been talking about that. The damage is so extensive in some communities here in Benton County. It's hard. You can just get to the edge of these neighborhoods, and then you got to park your car, you got to get out, and you got to get on foot to get in there. But also the folks in there, they're trapped. They can't get out either. And so there's a lot of stunned folks. There's a lot of concerned people. But as of right now, we're hearing some good stories. Everybody here on this block that we can tell is okay. And I know she was very excited to know that her grandmother's okay, and she's in there with her, comforting her. She said she never even heard the storm. So, I mean, it came in quick. Everybody wants to know, was it a tornado? How strong was it? We're going to find out. National Weather Service will be here, but the National Weather Service in Tulsa, this was in the only area that they were covering that was hit hard last night. So they've got their teams out in full force, and they'll be here as soon as they can, and we'll get that information out there. But we know there were some tornadoes in the county, and there were some damaging winds for sure.
Hey, Zach, as you were walking around or getting to that neighborhood, obviously you're seeing a lot. Is this pretty much what we're seeing around that whole area?
Yes. Now there's still If we could get a drone up, we could get an aerial shot. I mean, there's a path there. When we're kind of in and out of it, there's a clear path that's the worst, okay? But you can tell that the winds extended out a large area. And this might be one of those situations where sometimes they come back and there's the tornado path, or the width of it was 400 yards wide. The main cone, if the tornado was on the ground, the main cone may have come through a specific localized area. But you can still get little vortices that can reach out, and the damaging winds that come in on the backsides of these storms, they can still reach out for a ways. So yes, when we leave this neighborhood, there's damage scattered over there. Not this bad, but you can still see that those areas were impacted. We're not far from, if you're familiar with this area, you come down Walnut, right before you get to downtown Rogers, there's a Walmart right there. We saw the Walmart crews are out, and they're collecting the carts. The carts have been blown away, the buggies that were out there. The little stalls that when you take your cart to your car and then you're done unloading it and you put it in the stalls, those stalls were taken out of the Walmart parking lot, blown across Walnut into the businesses and the parking lots of the businesses across Walnut. And that just shows you, I think, that as you're getting that counterclockwise flow, you're getting that tornado coming this way, the force was grabbing things from across Walnut and bringing them to this side of Walnut, the north side of Walnut. And then as you get closer this way, the trees are snapped more. The tops of these trees are broken off and they're stripped and they're bare. So you can tell, I think the center of circulation came right where we're standing, and but you can see that the impacts of it were felt for a couple hundred yards out in each direction. And I'll tell you this, we still smell gas. We smell heavy pockets of gas sometimes, if you will. And we've had some of these, the people here have come out and asked us, what should we do? Is this bad? And I told them, I was like, I don't know. But what I would guess is if you know that there's a leak around you, you're checking on a business that you own, or you're walking around your house checking out your property, if you smell or hear the gas very strong there, I would get away from that. But I think there's just so much gas in the air here in Rogers that everyone can smell it, and it's stressing a lot of people out because they don't know what to do. And again, we talk about these emergency crews just trying to get all around the area. There's nobody here to tell them what to do. So that's something that they're also having to deal with.
All right, Zach, thanks. Appreciate that. Continue to be safe out there when you're going around those power lines that are down. We'll check in with Zach here in just a little bit from some other neighborhoods. This another live picture coming in from near Decatur, west of Decatur. This has been in that neighborhood that Jose Carranza has been trying to get to and finally got to, which is off Carlton Drive, west of Decatur. And all indications are, from what we heard in the news conference, that this was one of the hardest hit areas as far as homes that were damaged. Although I think once they get done with all of the assessment throughout the entire of Benton County, or throughout all of Benton County, that they will see a lot of this spread out all around the county, and this won't be an isolated thing. This is going to be what we see based on the strength of these 3 tornadoes that came through. We're going to be seeing a lot more of this throughout the rest of the day.
It's just a matter of time. Getting crews and cameras to these locations is taking a lot of time, just given the extent of tree damage that's blocking a lot of the roadways. It took first responders nearly 2 hours to make it to some of these areas. And as we just heard from that press conference from local emergency officials, they've still not been able to make it to everybody to check in on them. And so, if it's taken those folks some time, it's going to take us some time as well to get those pictures and damage assessments done. Earlier this morning, our own Jose Carranza was able to speak with one of the residents that was in her home in this exact neighborhood. If at any point we can play what she had to say and her takeaway, I'd love to hear from her.
Good morning. We're here with someone that was actually in one of these homes during the storm last night. Miss Patsy. Could you go ahead and tell us your name and do you live here?
Yes, my name is Patsy Allman Hickson, and I actually live in the trailer home right back there. And it was pretty scary.
Tell me about this morning, last night. What happened?
Well, usually during thunderstorms, it's like, oh, they come and they go, you know. I wasn't too worried, and then I was like, I told my husband, I was like, the house is shaking, you know, maybe we should go to your parents' house, which they weren't home, but his brother was. And I was like, let's go to that house because it's an actual house. And he was getting his shoes on, and then the house just started to shake violently, and I was like, nope, let's go to the laundry room. And his dad had always told me, if you can't get to the house, go to the laundry room. And that's the only room that didn't take damage. And like, we got one of our cats. The other one ran away. We're still looking for her. I got my other one in here in his cat bag. But like, it was just, my husband peeked out the laundry room door, and was like, our roof is gone. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, and all our windows. And I was just like, okay, get back in here and shut the door. And it was, everything's gone. All of our stuff is gone.
I can tell you've got a lot of emotion right now. What are you feeling?
I'm worried. I'm also very thankful because my husband, my brother-in-law, you know, they were all safe. My in-laws, they were safe because they weren't actually here. I'm relieved, but I'm also still in kind of shock, like, and I really would like to find my cat alive, but her favorite hiding spot is completely crushed. So I don't think that's gonna happen.
We've been here since 2 a.m, and we've been with the crews that have been trying to clear this half a mile of trees. Tell us about what happened this morning when that storm finally started to clear. What was happening with your family, and when did the first responders finally get to you?
So, like, when it was still storming a little bit, my friend who lives in town called me, and she was like, we've just talked to the chief, and they said they're sending emergency services out there. And I want to say it was a good 20 minutes before they could get through, like, the stuff, because they had to cut everything, and there was power lines down and stuff. Like, it was 10 times worse than right now, and it's pretty bad right now. So, like, but they got here, made sure everybody was, you know, safe and everything here, which we were. The neighbors down the street were on vacation, but they had somebody watching their house, and he's okay. So, and all their pets are okay, as far as I know. So, it didn't take them too long, I would say, but it would have probably seemed longer if we actually, like, needed their help. So.
Tell me, you're the first person that we're actually talking to on the ground here. Tell us about how many people are in this general area. I've seen maybe about 4 or 5 homes, but with the tornado coming through here, it's hard to tell.
Yeah. Well, we have a couple neighbors over that way, a couple over that way, one back there, and that's the ones that were on vacation. And then we've got 1, 2, 3. We've got a few more out that way, probably about 3 to 5. Like, there's not a whole lot, and you can see how spaced they are.
Yeah, and for it to, every home out here looks like it's been hit, and that's, like you said, it's all spaced out. So that's a lot of damage from a storm that came through here. Do you know if I've seen ambulances coming through here. Do you know if there's been anything else happened? I talked to someone who said their girlfriend was down here, said that she had been impaled and she couldn't feel her legs. Do you know of any of the other families out here? What's going on?
I did hear somebody got injured, but there was power lines down and stuff, so we couldn't get to them. But I know that they said that they think they broke a bone, and all I could say is, like, are they conscious? And they said yes, so I don't really know exactly what happened to them. I do know that I'm pretty sure they got taken by emergency services because they're not over there anymore. But I know that there has been injuries.
Well, it's good to hear that we've had emergency services out here then. And now, tell us about what's next for y'all. I mean, you've called people, I assume, at this point, and your home, all but the laundry room has been taken apart. Tell me what's next.
I mean, probably contact, you know, any resources we can to try to find, you know, make sure we have vehicles, make sure we have places to stay, make sure that we have like all the medical stuff we need. I mean, I think that's my first, you know, thought. And then we're going to see what we can do and how long we can, how long it's going to be until we can get something done so we can get our houses back up and going, you know.
Have you heard of the rest of the damage that's gone through here?
Down about 10,000, probably out with power. We've got trees across roads. We're really encouraging individuals to stay off the roads as we try to clean up those road systems. We also have signals down. So again, trying to keep our message this morning is really to try to keep people safe and off the roads as we try to go through and clean up.
Do you guys know of any injuries or fatalities in the city?
Not in the city. We have had over 20 EMS calls, and so those are currently being worked.
What is search and rescue looking like in the city?
So right now, each of our different teams, from electric to streets to our police and fire, our water crew, we've got water leaks, we've got gas leaks, so each of those crews are now being mobilized in the city. Well over 100 calls. So Bentonville, along with all of the cities in the surrounding area, have been hit very hard with this storm. So each city team is mobilized, and you're here in the EOC with the Bentonville team.
When those power lines are down, just talking about electric stuff, how does that affect power in the area? Is it kind of something that could be fixed in a day? Is it a week? Do you know?
It really depends on where and what went down. We are currently getting eyes on everything that we have to see if there are ways to switch the power around to be able to do that. Like the mayor said, we have approximately 10,000 customers out. There may be some more that will go out as we try to switch them around to get as many people back on as we can quickly, while we then go evaluate the broken poles and the down lines.
Can you talk something about what areas of the city have seen the most extensive damage?
I believe electric-wise, it's more from the northwest, kind of down in the more heavily tree-covered area. The whole north side of town should be out of power right now.
Obviously a busy night for police, and an early day for police. Kind of tell us what the strategy's been so far and kind of what you guys are doing.
Yeah, our priority's been checking on our citizens first and checking their welfare, finding out if they need anything, getting them out of their homes if they need to. And then we're working with all the other city crews right now, trying to get access into certain neighborhoods that we haven't been able to check on those individuals as well. We'll continue to work with all of our city departments throughout the next few days to continue with this process.
If someone in the city needs help right now, what resources are there for them to reach out?
If it is a true emergency, they can call 911, and that's important. So if they are just waking up, or if there's something that goes on throughout the day, they can call us anytime. If it's a non-emergency, we ask that they call our non-emergency number, 479-271-3170.
For the fire department, what's going on with you guys? What's the plan? What's going on?
So yeah, we were responding to the emergencies throughout the night. At this point, we're doing a grid search through the city. All of our units are out, checking all the neighborhoods, trying to see basically every single house or business in the city, and especially as the daylight comes in, and just to make sure some people may not be home or somebody may be hurt, so we're checking those. They may not be able to call, so we're just getting eyes on every street, every house that we possibly can, and doing it by grid system, so we we shouldn't miss anybody.
I know it's still a little early, but anything yet of people that are trapped? Has there been anything significant?
We've had some people trapped in their homes. We've had people trapped due to water, and we've transported a few people to the hospital based on that. But most of them, we're just able to get them out, and they're not injured. They just aren't able. Trees are blocking doors or driveways and things like that. So,
what's the best advice for people that are maybe still trapped in their homes from extensive damage?
I mean, if they're trapped in their homes, we want them to go ahead and call 911 so we can help get them out. But I mean, if they, of course, if they can go out the back door or whatever, then but they're going to just be a lot of cleanup that's going to have to happen in those at those residents. But as far as staying safe, we just want to make sure as people get up that they don't go walking out around where all these down power lines are, or getting into the high water areas at all. And also, if they do have damage, you know, and it's structurally unsound, we want to make sure people aren't getting around any of those kind of dangers either.
Gotcha. Mayor, I got one more question for you. Seeing this happen so close to home here in Bentonville, you know, we saw it in Little Rock last year, Wynn last year. When it hits close to home, kind of what is that like to see that in the city?
Well, what I can say is that we have amazing teams that mobilize everybody from the county as well down to each city. And so what you will see is, we followed you guys driving down here because you were doing it with your cam. There were actually trees in those roadways. We were driving them this morning, and they had already been cleared that you came down through. So that's just how quickly that our teams react. But there is a lot of damage out there, and there is a lot of work to be done.
Gotcha. And for the roads, get one more up. You know, roads are the biggest thing when people are waking up in the morning. Everybody's trying to go somewhere. How do you make sure that those roads are clear, and how do you kind of, what's the strategy there?
Well, we had a couple of step process there. We worked with EMS for the emergency calls to make sure they had access. Then we started working on the calls that we were receiving on our main roads, and we called in extra support from other departments, water, sewer, parks, and so everybody's kind of pulling together to try to remove the trees from the road. We'll come back and clean up later. Right now the priority is just getting access through the roadways.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that was the mayor, Stephanie Orman, and her city staff from the city of Bentonville. We're just getting a first inclination or a first idea of the damage that took place in Bentonville now. We've been talking about Rogers pretty much all morning long. We can tell you that numerous injuries in Bentonville, power lines and trees down. That seems to be the biggest concern that they have. Or the biggest amount of work that they have are the power lines and the trees.
Right.
Not so much homes being damaged as in Rogers, but they still have, you know, people that needed to be gotten out of their homes because of tree limbs blocking driveways or doorways. But it doesn't seem that there was as much home damage in Bentonville as there were, at least listening to them talk, that as there was in Rogers.
Reading between the lines with what the
Yes.
mayor said there, or maybe it was the fire official, they're still doing a grid search.
Right.
A grid search is a methodical way of checking on everyone, search and rescue, if you will. And we heard the same exact thing from Benton County officials. So you just given the widespread nature of the damage, here we are now 6 hours later, and we've still not touched base with everybody potentially
Exactly,
impacted. So while we know of one fatality, we know of multiple injuries, and that's the word that officials are using, multiple. We don't know an exact number, although it sounded like Bentonville has responded to 20 EMS calls, is what the fire official said.
Right, they had a few that had to be transported or taken to the hospital. Not seriously injured, but at least taken to the hospital. So again, the injury part, or the injury aspect of this, doesn't seem as much in Benton County, thankfully, or Bentonville, thankfully, as it does outside of Bentonville outside in the county, including in Rogers. And you mentioned that there has been many injuries, one fatality. That took place, that was reported on the east part of Benton County, out toward the Montenay area. Red Cross has been contacted. They will be in and help set up shelters for those who don't have power, for those who may not have a home to go to because of the damage that has taken place there. The Red Cross will be setting up shelters at some point today, if not today, tomorrow, for folks to stay. Emergency disaster declarations have now started, or been declared, at least on the county level. That will proceed to the state level and then presumably to the federal level. And it also has to start on the county level in order to get those funds and those resources brought into the county for the county and the cities to use to help rebuild and clean up and help with those who are injured. Decatur and Rocky Branch area were the hardest hit so far, although there is damage all over Benton County. When we say this was in Benton County, we say it, what we mean is it was all of Benton County that got some kind of damage with this. If you want to help out, we've talked about this as well. If you want to help out, we know you want to help out. We know that this area, folks love to help their neighbors. What they are asking you to do is to be patient and wait for a way for you to help out is set up. That has to be coordinated and organized in order to make sure your donation gets to the right person, gets to the right agency, and gets to the right area. That may take a few days. So before you go clean out your closets and you want to donate clothes, hang on to that for just a couple of days, hopefully sooner than that, for a way to be established so you can do it in the proper way that makes sense and that is most efficient.
Darren, I'm getting a note from Black Hills Energy. A lot of folks have been wondering, what do we do because we smell gas? Folks have come up to our field crews and asked them that question. Black Hills Energy, look, I'm just going to read this straight from them. Black Hills Energy technicians are currently responding to Benton County, and they are shutting off natural gas service as required for the safety of their customers and the public. If customers smell gas, they're urged to call 911 as well as Black Hills Energy. Their number, we will post this on 5newsonline.com, 888-890-5554. They say, please wait for Black Hills Energy or emergency personnel to arrive before you re-enter the building. Emergency personnel will let you know when it is safe. They're telling us that if you smell gas, they're urging you to leave your home. Their words, immediately.
Right.
Again, that note from Black Hills Energy with regards to the smell of gas. One other note to pass along, we've been focused a lot on Benton County. That's where the worst damage is. A coworker here at the station camping at Withrow Springs, that's going to be in Madison County. Widespread damage there at Withrow Springs at the park. She's sending in some photos and videos. Looks like some large trees toppled over. According to her, at least in her immediate proximity, no injuries to report there.
It's interesting, we saw the SWEPCO map on the power outages, and the number of folks in Benton County, number of customers in Benton County without power is back up to 72,000. I was scanning over looking at Baxter County. There are 27,000 customers in Baxter County. 24,000 customers are without power. So more than 95% math, more than 95% of Baxter County, I know it's not in our area, it's in north central Arkansas, but a lot of folks go there for tourism, fishing, hiking, boating, that sort of thing.
Darren, I'm looking at the map. I don't know if we can pull poweroutage.us up. Literally every county in the northern tier of Arkansas where that one storm, we're talking one supercell. Look at all those power outages as a result of that. I haven't checked in the last 5 minutes, but about 5 minutes ago, I'm checking right now. This storm, Darren, still has a tornado warning on it. Now in the Boot Hill of Missouri, getting ready to move into parts of Tennessee, parts of far northeast Arkansas, north of Blytheville, still under that tornado warning. Same storm that rolled through our neck of the woods real early this morning, about 6 hours ago.
Carroll Electric, about half of their customers in Benton County are without power. SWEPCO has about 16,000. That number hasn't changed hardly at all this morning. Bentonville Light and Water System has about 10,000 customers. For the total is in Benton County still 72,415 customers. So suffice it to say that 80%, 70% of the county, or 50% of the county is still without power in Benton County, and that is made up again of several different utilities, including Carroll Electric, Ozarks Electric, and SWEPCO. They are bringing in folks from all over the state and all over the region, for that matter, to get this power turned back on again as quickly and as safely as they can. All right, I believe we have Jose Carranza. Is he live now again there he is, live from that area west of Decatur. Jose, my goodness, I can tell already that it doesn't look good out there. We may have lost him just.
All
there
right.
he is.
Hey there, Darren. Yeah, we're out here in Decatur. Sorry about that. There's the self coverage here is kind of spotty, and so I'm hearing you guys come in and out. But anyways, we're here now, further down from the damage where we saw up here on Carlton Drive, and what some of those shots we showed you where there was a car flipped and another car parked next to it. You can see that there were some bricks laid around in a rectangle. That's because on the other side of the road, there was a trailer home that had completely been blown away by whatever storm it came through here from those bricks. So it flipped that car, flipped that home all the way to the other side. And as you can see behind me, this is where there's just a lot more damage. And just to give you an idea of how far away this damage is, we're maybe a football field away from where we originally showed you those homes. And that's still half a mile away from where those trees were taken down. But as you can see, this home back here, there's a barn that's non-existent back there. I saw some horses tied up I guess they've moved up in the ranch, so they're loose now. There's a home right there that you can see inside because it's just been taken apart. But that's a lot of what we're seeing out here is these homes that have either taken, half of the home has been taken apart and just these trees have been stripped. Right now we're still seeing a lot of the emergency management crews out here with heavy machinery to sort of clear out these roads, because some of these roads are just dirt roads. It's a rural area, and that's what we heard from Miss Patsy earlier, was that these homes, if there was better put, these are all spread out, and for it to be every home to be impacted this way, it's just astonishing what we're seeing out here. There's no words to really put, and these families are left with no words. There's families that initially when they drove up here, they didn't want to talk to us. There's families that have had injuries that have told us, they can't feel their legs anymore, and hopefully, they get the right attention that they need. But it's just astonishing the things we're seeing out here, these trees stripped, and a lot of this was just forested areas. Miss Patsy had told us over there's a holler between some of the properties out here, and there's trees on top of those hills, but it looks like a clear hilltop now with all those trees been taken away by the storm. There's multiple power lines I've had to just, avoid while going through here. It's the other part of this is it's morning now, and as we finally got that view of what really happened, we heard those birds chirping. As I was walking down this mile of road, you could smell all the pine trees that had been torn and uprooted. You could see the balls of roots just on these trees. They had been lifted and just thrown across the street. It's astonishing out here. But yeah, for now, we're going to go ahead and send it back to you, Darren.
All right, Jose, thanks. And just looking at the pictures behind Jose, and now that he's walked out, we can keep that up for a second. I'd still just, the trees look like somebody took a weed eater and for hundreds of yards just clipped the top off of those trees, and that just shows the strength of that tornado that came through that area.
Quite a bit of structure damage. Earlier in this same neighborhood, we also saw a vehicle completely turned upside down, now sitting on its roof. And so the more we look out here with the daylight helping us out, we continue to see just the signs of just how strong this tornado was. There's a good chance a lot of folks are just now waking up and you didn't hear thunder overnight. You slept peacefully all night long. Here's what happened. We had a single supercell move through Delaware, into Benton, and eventually into Carroll, and even parts of Madison counties, and that same supercell tracked all through across North Arkansas overnight, likely producing, at this point, we know of 3 radar-confirmed tornadoes, 2 of which were in the Decatur area, and then extensive damage, likely tornado-related, in the Rogers community. Bentonville has some damage as well. Uncertain right now whether or not the Bentonville damage was straight-line winds, or was it also related to a tornado there. There wasn't much else happening. There was one supercell that pulsed up and moved through. We have 1 confirmed fatality, multiple injured in these tornadoes, that according to local officials overnight with these storms. So there's a good reason a lot of folks might just be waking up and curious what in the world happened. 3 tornadoes that we know of based off of radar data. Weather Service will have to come out and assess an EF rating. What we do know, Darren, is we can look at data in real time, and we're going to look at 2 things. We're going to look at how strong are the winds that are rotating within those supercells, and how high up in the atmosphere is debris being lofted. You can use those 2 data points to pinpoint, or well, at least give a really good estimate of an EF rating. And we saw indicators of potential EF3 damage. Again, that's not even preliminary, that's an estimate based off of data alone. The Weather Service out of Tulsa is going to have to survey the entire length of this storm, the track, and that's going to take them some time.
Oh man, at least a couple of weeks or
before a final rating for sure.
Yeah.
We could have something preliminary late in the day, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not in the coming days. But given this was the only storm, you know, they're not going to have much else to do other than focus on this one storm.
We can tell you that I've been getting messages, and we've got such a great community in the River Valley, and I know if you're waking up in the River Valley and there wasn't, I know you didn't hear anything or didn't experience a lot of what has taken place in Northwest Arkansas. There's a lot of people who are messaging me on we want to help out. We know we don't live up there. We know we don't live, but we still want to help out. And what we need to tell you is we're basically relaying information from Judge Mooring and Robert McGowan and folks who are members of the leadership team of Benton County. Hang on to that want to help out. Be patient. They need your help. They are desperate for your help. Just not right now, because they are still in that assessment process. Once they get that assessment taken care of and figured out, then there will be a process by which you can follow to help out those in Benton County. And I see Zach out there in a different area now. So Zach, where are you and what are you seeing right now?
We're on Walnut. We are I can see downtown here behind Josh, and we'll pan that way here in a minute. I'm just sitting here thinking about what am I going to say? How am I going to continue to describe what I'm seeing out here? And my heart just breaks. It really is. I've seen national stories like this covered from different communities around the country, hit hard at times from different various weather incidents, but it's different when it hits your community. And you hate to hear about the loss of life and all the injuries out there. And then you just kind of look around. And where these storms went through, some of these areas are never going to look the same. They're not going to look the same as we remember them. We've got a lot of trees here in Five Country and in Northwest Arkansas. And the tornado scar, you talk about these storms, they leave scars. The scar will live for a long time with the trees. It's going to look different to a lot of folks when you drive down some of these roads in Rogers, Centerton, Decatur, just other parts of Benton County. When you drive down these areas, the businesses are going to be different. Businesses that you're used to being there aren't going to be there. Businesses like this all things kindred, took a direct hit. Looks like the front of the storm, the wall caved in. The roof has come off. And this is one of those too, where even just coming here again, one business completely destroyed like this, and then the next one is still standing. The walls are still standing. And that's things too. I know you guys were just talking about survey crews. That's things too that the National Weather Service will be looking at. Scott talking about taking what we see here on the ground and putting that together with the radar. That building's still standing with the brick there. They'll look at how old is that building, how was it built, and then compare it to this building, and figure out why this one caved in this way. And then you have this house right here, tree damage. And if we looked down this street, this is at Walnut and 5th Street, I believe the sign says. Extensive tree damage. Once again, that neighborhood we were in a little earlier, Maple Road, back in there, it's one of those neighborhoods we just can't get into. Power lines are down, they're over our heads. Trees are down. You can only go a few hundred yards in and then you're stuck again. You've got debris hung up here on the power line poles. Cars covered with these limbs. The sun angle may be a little tough here for us, but you can see downtown Rogers, this is where we are. We're just right down the road. And there's trees coming down across. Usually when you're coming into downtown Rogers, you've got these beautiful old trees there on the horizon. Now you've got gaps. There's trees down over there. It looks like, I mean, the way the damage is here on the north side of Walnut, if they're going to put a path of the tornado, which is what we believe at this point, right? And everything's the National Weather Service will tell us everything, what was straight line winds, what was RFD, what was tornado damage. But it's so extensive the further you go there to the north of Walnut. But there's extensive tree damage to the south over there. And those trees are pulled this way. So I feel like, again, the tornado was coming through and it was pulling the debris from south of Walnut to north of Walnut. But again, the landscape here is going to look different. There's a lot of businesses that are like this, and these folks are going to need help. These neighborhoods are going to need help, and so that's what we're doing now. Now we're in recovery mode. Now we're just going to try to get that information out there of how to help people, how to let them know where to go to get the help, and then for all the folks that want to help, and there's a lot of you out there, we're going to continue to try to let you know what areas that hit the hardest and where your efforts can best be used.
Exactly. All right. Zach, thank you so much for that. We'll check back in with Zach as the morning progresses. It's about 10 till 8. We want to update you on what the situation is in Benton County. We do have one fatality, multiple injuries. We don't know how many or to what extent. There is damage all the way from the state line past through Bentonville, through Rogers, and through the eastern part of the county for that matter. That's where the one fatality took place, was in the eastern part of Benton County. There is damage everywhere. We've got trees down, we've got homes destroyed, businesses destroyed, and it was all from 3 tornadoes that took place this morning. And again, I know we've been talking about this, but just to reiterate, we know you want to help. We're still getting messages from county leadership that please just be patient for just a little bit. They do want to get something set up to make it efficient, to make sure that your donation, whatever you want to donate, goes to the right place. Right. So just be patient with that, especially out of the River Valley. My goodness, there's just all kinds of posts on Facebook from those in the River Valley who want to drive up here and help out. Just hang on, just be patient for a little bit. There will be a way for you to do that. And once that happens, we will let you know. What we want to do now, though, is we've got about, 8 or 9 minutes here. We got to figure out the rest of this weekend.
Sure.
And
sure.
Going into next week and what kind of weather these folks are going to face as they get cleaned up and start fixing things.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So, very complex storm system, deepening area of low pressure responsible for this. Dry line back off towards the west. The cold front has not moved through yet. The cold front itself is still off to our west. So it's still going to be warm. It's still going to be muggy today. And my mind goes to those folks that don't have power, obviously not going to have air conditioner. Heat index values today likely in the low 90s, even in northwest Arkansas. So there's going to need to be some cooling shelters. There's going to be a need to a place for people to go that are more prone to the elements like that, more sensitive to the elements today. We don't have any information on where those cooling centers are going to be set up. I suspect, though, we will in the near future, and we will keep you posted. This is going to be 9:30 this morning. We're already in the low 80s in the River Valley, sitting in those upper 70s, lots of humidity. Winds will be breezy today, so if there's any loose limbs, if there's any loose power lines, things dangling, some of these winds could knock things down. So we're going to have to be really careful out there as we start to pick up the pieces and get an idea of what's happening. Here comes that front, slowly but surely working our direction. By 2 o'clock, we're in the 90s. Eventually, northwest Arkansas likely makes it in the upper 80s before that front gets here. This is 4 p.m. today. You're noticing the front itself not kicking up a lot. It's possible that we will see a couple of storms fire up on this front. The chance is relatively low in terms of coverage. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of storms, at least in our neck of the woods. But as that front starts to make a little bit more progress, maybe just off to our east, but of course this is just one model. It only gives us a general idea. You can't take this verbatim. You got to take it with a grain of salt. Could see a couple of storms firing up. This is later this evening. Better odds are that those storms fire up off to our east. Still, though, could see one or two try to make it into our neck of the woods. Again, I don't think there's going to be a lot, and if there are storms that develop, we're talking a large hail potential. That's going to be the primary concern. No one wants to deal with hail anyways, but you definitely don't want to deal with hail when you don't even have a roof over your head, right? Temperatures behind that front are going to turn cooler. The humidity levels are going to drop at least for a couple of days. They're going to go back up. Middle part of next week. But this takes us into 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. We are going to be comfortable at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Low to mid 60s, got some upper 60s in the River Valley. Dew point values in the 50s, which is dry, really dry, especially for Arkansas. So it's going to feel a little bit better. And then you'll go into Memorial Day. Notice that big drop in temperatures behind the front. Low 80s, low humidity on Monday. We'll have a decent amount of sunshine with us as well. Mostly sunny skies staying with us on Tuesday. But we get into this active weather pattern once more. Let me move my computers off the screen here. We know the 7 days important to a lot of folks. It helps you plan your life. So I'm going to push all my gear out of the way. It's been here for a few hours. Let me get it out of your way. There's a lot going on here, folks. Thank you for your patience with us. Here you go. I'll give you a good view of the 7-day forecast. 30% chance of showers and storms going into the second half of next week, just about every evening. What appears to be taking shape is a very typical late May, early June pattern. It's where you get some high pressure to build in, but we're just on the periphery of that high pressure that we'll get some disturbances to pass through. It's called northwest flow, and it often does result in some overnight into the early morning storm systems. You'll find in the River Valley today, 92 degrees. It's going to be muggy out there as well. Heat index values in the River Valley, likely in the mid to upper 90s this afternoon. That front provides you some relief as well. Keep in mind, it may bring you a storm. It's going to be very stray, isolated in nature. By tomorrow, we'll be back in the upper 80s. Low humidity is going to make it feel pretty decent out there. Winds will be out of the northwest behind this front. That's where that drier air comes from. We only get the nice dry air for a couple of days. By midweek, the humidity starts to increase, but our temperatures likely staying at least in the low 80s Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Largely, that's just due to increase in cloud cover, but the humidity also kind of keeps those temperatures in check as well.
All right, we're going to, just to give you kind of the lay of the land here, for the next few minutes, we're going to wrap up our extensive coverage of this storm system that came through. What you got there?
Hearing from some folks, we've been very focused on Benton County. That's where the worst is, but Madison County also took a hit.
Yes.
I'm hearing from some folks that are out cutting trees right now. Several chicken houses flattened, and we had debris and rotation going through parts of Madison and Carroll County. So there's a large swath of folks impacted by this storm.
And we'll be covering that, obviously, throughout the rest of the day. And so what we're going to do here is, in about a minute, we're going to send you to regular programming. We will update you as best we can either here on Channel 5 or on our social media platforms, especially on our website at 5newsonline.com. One dead, a number of folks have been injured from this system that came through about 8 hours ago now. That did a lot of damage in Benton County. We've got Red Cross that will be setting up shelters. We'll update you on that. Emergency disaster declarations are forthcoming. We'll update you on that as best we can throughout the rest of today, especially online, and best we can on air as well. So until we come back at you again with some updates, we're going to leave you with some of the damage that we have seen throughout the morning this morning. Stay with us, of course, as we continue to cover this severe weather and this tornado damage from this morning.